Howdy, everybody.
Yeah.
Happy holidays. Happy Cowboy Day.
Yeah.
Happy Nick Day.
I feel like,
Bree.
I feel
What?
like that one lawyer who had like the cat filter on that Zoom call when he was like talking with his client right now. Like,
yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of mad now that I didn't do that. Shit.
I mean, I got my fancy on air, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's very professional, honestly. That's very professional.
Nick
Thank
just won up on me and Jacob. Like, damn, bro.
I had no idea would do this when I turned the camera on. Like, I really had
Honestly,
no idea.
you look like a teacher in the Zoom.
By the way, this is an accurate depiction of me to the left.
Well, all right, guys. This is Jacob's Film Perspectives. We've come to the end of the year. I've decided this will be my final podcast of 2023. I mean, I'll probably come soon in 2024 with a recap of this year, but this is the final podcast. We're talking Thanksgiving, and then we're talking Napoleon, which we all have a lot to say on Napoleon, and then we're talking Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the longest title ever, and Holdovers. Yeah, so we got all the top movies to talk about. We had to talk about Hunger Games with all the, the women. The women love the Hunger Games, so we had to talk about the Hunger Games to get the audiences. I'm just kidding. It's actually surprised me. I have some good things to say about the new Hunger Games movie. But okay, as you know, I'm Jacob. I'm very vain. I named my movie page. I literally have my name in my movie reviewing thing. I'm very vain. We got Deontay the Giant, the King, leader of SNN Network here.
Howdy.
And then we got the King of Hot Takes, the King of Awkwardness, Nick, the man.
Hell yeah.
Honestly, I honestly feel like I won't have a lot of hot takes this episode. I feel like I won't have a lot of hot takes.
You just have one major one.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna drop like a bomb. It's just gonna just destroy everything.
I'm scared.
Good God.
But yeah, I mean, it's Christmas season, so I brought out the Santa hat.
Yeah.
So let's get into it.
All righty.
Shout out to Will from the SNN Network for making that beautiful, beautiful intro.
Yes, sir.
Creative genius. And I mean, let's start with Thanksgiving, you guys. Eli Roth's new film.
Mm-hmm.
Eli, baby.
Eli.
I think the only film. I can't remember what all he's made, but
he's made the first two Cabin Fevers, Green Inferno. He did a remake of some, I think, action movie from the 70s. He did that one movie, This House Has Clocks in the Walls or something like that with Jack Black.
Oh, I've seen
that. He directed the original Thanksgiving trailer segment for Grindhouse, which obviously inspired the movie. I do feel like he made another movie, but I know Cabin Fever and Green Inferno are like his major, like his claim to fame movies right now.
He made Knock Knock.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen it. I just know the memes about it.
I think, was it Knock Knock? Was that the one with Keanu Reeves in a very like early role? Yeah,
I think so.
I've seen that movie. I liked it. I thought it was good. It gets associated with like the Rob Zombie movies of that era because like the blood and the violence and all that. I think it's a very unique one that stands out amongst all of them.
Yeah.
I have only seen House with a Clock in Its Walls and this one of Eli Roth. So I'm not a big Eli Roth guy.
No, I get that. Like, I feel like Eli Roth is very pretentious. and he and I feel like he just, I don't know, I think he thinks too highly of himself. He also made Hostel. He made the first two Hostel movies, I believe. I don't know if he made the third one, but he did the first two. But
Yeah.
I mean, Eli Roth has good ideas, but I feel like again he's too pretentious, and he's always giving me this vibe of like a film student who never like graduated. Still always seems like he's still trying to make his final thesis film or whatever. But I will give credit when credit's due. He has presented us some amazing kills and gore, and I do believe he has changed the genre in some aspects.
Yeah, like Cabin Fever when it first came out, it was kind of like a little bit ahead of its time because like how far they went with like spreading the disease, and then just like the townspeople being involved with it, and it got crazy through certain parts of the movie.
No, it definitely did.
And yeah, I haven't seen the part 2 of it, but I heard that was just as nuts.
Gotta watch Godzilla -1. Someone said in the comments. I do want to see that. I would have saw it this weekend, but I've been seeing a lot of movies lately. I gotta save some money. But yeah, I'd like to go see Godzilla -1. I heard it's a really, really good Godzilla, and it's from Japan, so it's probably done right.
Oh no,
instead of Americanized versions. But
yeah, that's my buddy Edmund Forrest. So shout out to Edmund. Thank you for tuning in, bro.
I don't know why it shows up as Facebook user.
Yeah, it just says that for me too, just Facebook user.
Yeah, I had to hop in like the comment section to actually see who's talking to us. It's weird. Oh no, that was Ben Stewart that said the Godzilla -1.
It used
I
to
don't know
not
why
do
my
that.
Facebook showed me that, but
It used to give us the names, but lately it's been saying Facebook user.
Yeah, and half the time, like it won't even pick up comments from Facebook. It picks up everything from YouTube, and it's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah. Well, let's get into Thanksgiving, guys.
Crazy ass movie.
Oh, it was fucking wild.
It was
Black
wild.
Friday scene.
I feel like the Black Friday scene just automatically set the tone for it.
Yeah,
I've seen Black Friday scenes in other horror movies. Like I think Krampus had one. It had like a similar scene, but that one was more goofy. This one felt very realistic and just felt just really mean too. Like I could see people like in Cape doing something like that.
Yeah,
a very like graphic yet nasty scene to start off the movie with.
Yeah, I sat there in the audience and I was just like, man, this is some shit that would really go down at this Cape Walmart.
Oh yeah.
I will say,
right next to it.
I did think the girl that got scalped by the shark or whatever, I thought that was Courtney Cox for the longest. Oh, just because of the plastic surgery, it looked like Courtney Cox, but actually it was Gina Gershon is her name. She was in some other Eli Roth movie. But yeah,
she's the one that started it all too. Was she? Or no, the woman that got shot is the one that started it all.
The one guy got his throat slit, and then he's going through the waffle iron.
Yeah, the one guy, what Jacob said, he got like stabbed in the neck, and he kept going. So I think he was like the first casualty technically of the movie. But I think the lady who got scalped, I believe, I think that she's the one who really set like the whole plan of revenge and the movie's plot in motion.
Yeah, because that was the one that was involved with the cop, right? But
which we'll get into that. But like, that was so telling though, because like the dude was in Scream 3. Patrick Dempsey, he was in Scream 3, and like the one thing I will say about this movie, this movie heavily relies on Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and even Halloween in some aspects. On like influence is you can tell the influence is like right on its sleeve.
I mean, well, like how like Thanksgiving is part of, like the holiday horror subgenre, and Halloween and Black Christmas kickstart that stuff. So like I'm not surprised that like a Thanksgiving themed slasher movie took cues from like Halloween, but I am surprised it did take cues from like Scream and those other movies.
I mean,
Yeah.
They are completely like different, like on different like spectrums of the genre, you know.
and
Yes.
they had a comedian, Tim Dillon. If you noticed, if you know who Tim Dillon is, the comedian. He was one of the security guards at the Black Friday, the one that said, "I screw this, I'm out," and started running away. The one with the cat that gets killed later on.
I've never heard of Tim Dillon, but
he's a funny comedian.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check him out.
So when I saw him in this movie, I was like, okay, I know what movie I'm in for. When I saw the comedian as a security, I was like, okay, I get where we're going now.
Yeah, it's hard to take slasher movies seriously. It's just like you got to be there to see how creative the kills get and why the killing is happening in the first place. Right. So that was my whole attitude going into seeing Thanksgiving.
I think my thing with like Thanksgiving going, and after seeing the trailer, like the original mock trailer from Grindhouse, I really wanted to see how many scenes from that movie he brought into the actual movie. And he brought over like a lot of them. Like he brought over like the turkey getting decapitated at the parade, which I felt like was a very good scene.
Yeah.
I feel like probably one scene that was in the original Grindhouse trailer that he kind of like upgraded for this movie was the lady becoming the turkey whenever he like basted her and all that, like had her tied up, because he had something like that for the original trailer. And honestly, like that was probably the most disturbing scene in the movie for me.
Yeah,
because, like he made this lady like tied her up, basted her, all this stuff, and just like took off like the sheet, and like all the people are like around. I'm just like, that's just gotta be the most traumatizing thing ever, you know? Because like
so
the guy's puking. The guy's like puking through his mouth pie.
Mm-hmm. Like it was such a honestly disgusting scene because like but I do feel like that scene was ruined by the the actual movie trailer that came out like a couple months ago, because I feel like the movie trailer either spoiled or ruined like a lot of like the big kills of the movie. In my opinion.
Yeah, I haven't seen the trailer in a while, so
I saw the trailer like once.
Yeah, I saw it maybe like just probably like once, so I couldn't remember it.
I saw it twice, and like I remember with the first one that came, I think it was like the teaser trailer. It highlighted the kill of the lady getting like her face like dipped into the water, put on the door, ripped off. Then she like runs outside, gets like, and first off, that dumpster must have been made out of like iron or something for her to just get like cut in half like that. Like that was such a wild scene, because like at first I thought he was just going to like leave her there on the door just to like die or whatever. But then she like peels her skin off and she's running. Then she like gets in the dumpster and like whoosh, like that. I was like, what? Like
you can cut her completely clean in half. Like Jesus Christ! Like oh my.
Like what's that dumpster made out of? Like
I know it's a slasher movie and it's supposed to have dumb kills, but that kill actually took me out of the movie, because like the way he just put her face in the water and then it immediately stuck to the thing. That's not how that works in real life. And then secondly, when she gets cut in half and it's the most lightweight garbage. Like I used to have to take the garbage out at many jobs. Like you guys know what taking out the garbage is like. Nobody gets cut in half like that. So that would not happen. So when that happened, it was too over the top for me. Where I was like, okay, like I was like, okay, he's trying to be gory. That's actually a critique I had with the movie, was that kill. I was like, he's just trying to be gory purpose. Like
at some point during the filming process, Eli would just, I don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah, literally, just some of the kills, I was just like the one where the girl, it's the weirdest scene in the movie, and I still do not know why this scene is in the movie. Do you know how that's exactly how it works in real life?
I've seen people get their tongue stuck to a pole.
I mean, it happens like that because like it was like a walk-in freezer, and that water, he just like dipped her whole head in there, and it's like right on the door. So like
maybe
maybe it was the amount of pressure that he was applying to her head that made that
for sure. Not the garbage can.
Yeah, that garbage. I got a dumpster just like that downstairs. It wouldn't chop me in half. So
And it just looks so cartoonish. Also, like
yeah.
it looks super cartoonish. Like I thought it was like watching like a Looney Tunes segment when that happened.
Let's test it. Oh, okay. Let's test it.
That's gonna be evidence for a trial. I'm calling.
I think we have the actual John Carver in the comments right now.
I love
John
you,
Carver,
John.
man.
Honestly,
You get
like
turkey basted.
like the whole John Carver element, like him being like the main villain, that was so cool because he was like an actual historical figure. Like he was the original governor of Plymouth or whatever. So like I'm really glad Eli Roth did like a lot of research on like Plymouth and Thanksgiving for this movie. Like he did more research than like I feel like other people do for like slasher movies, you know. So I'm glad he actually kind of like respected the traditions in the holiday and actually pulled like a figure from real life that would probably be actually celebrated in Plymouth. Like for all I know, like John Carver is being celebrated in Plymouth like last month.
He's a hero. Yeah.
I will say the one thing they have a few of the actors, they have the Massachusetts Boston accent. That's not how people in Boston talk. I went to Boston this summer. That's not how people in Boston, like it's so over the top. Like they have
it's exaggerated as shit.
Yeah, they have an accent, but it was so exaggerated where it was to the point where I was like, okay, these people are putting on an accent. Like that is so exaggerated.
They were having fun like a motherfucker too. It's just like, yeah, Boston people cuss like that, but
yeah, like this is not how. Like I know that people in Boston are actually really nice from what I encountered. So like I feel like that's a poor description of people in Massachusetts, but like you know it is what it is. But like going back to what I was saying about the weirdest scene in the movie, and this scene still baffles me. You remember it's the guy at the Black Friday. It's from the rival school. The one that gets his head turned all the way around. Well, first off, a human cannot do that. So, I mean, that was another issue. But it set up a cool kill. I did love the trampoline kill where he's sticking the knife to the trampoline and she's landing. That may have been my favorite kill of the whole movie. Because, like, she was getting... I mean, technically, she survived because she was in the freezer later. Yep, well... Lawson, he was the buddy I saw it with. He's also been on the podcast before. Good friend of the podcast, Lawson Thresher. He didn't like it. He thought it was trash. And I mean, I get it. I liked it a little bit more than him, but I also have a lot of problems with it. But like that kill was I will give it that. That kill was pretty awesome. How she's just coming down on the trampoline. He's putting the knife through it. And like she's just like coming down. Like that was pretty cool. But that scene made no sense because how did he know that she was going to take the guy out of class? And why was she doing this sexy little dance show on a trampoline for this guy in a pitch black gym with the spotlights only on the trampoline? Like, I was like, what is this? What high school is this? What is happening?
Yeah, that is some extra kinky shit. What kind of Gen Z shit is this? It's like, I'm going to role play off a trampoline.
Like sometimes he tried way too hard with his kills. It was just like too try hard. It was like, oh my god, you're just trying to make it. It was just too try hard for me sometimes.
Yeah, well, Eli Roth approached this movie with the same innovation that a stoner would have. He was like,
literally.
I mean, Eli Roth is basically just like a very grown-up 13-year-old. I mean, the thing is, this movie had like my thoughts on Thanksgiving overall. I thought it was just a funny movie to throw on. You know, I might buy it in the future. I might just put it on the background if I have like a movie night or something and we want to watch something stupid. I'll throw it on. It's definitely better than a lot of the other Thanksgiving horror movies out there. It's definitely better than a lot of the other ones. But I mean, kind of like what Jacob was saying, you kind of really have to like suspend belief for like a lot of the stuff happening in there. You know,
right?
But overall, I think like the characters could have been better. The cinematography was good in my opinion. The plot was very, very basic, not deep, and like it's not supposed to be a deep plot, but like it still could have been like stretched out a bit more, you know. But again, I think it had like pros and cons. I think I had like the same amount of pros and cons for me at least.
Yeah, I kind of the same way. I understand where you guys are coming from. For me, like I grew up on nothing but slasher films. Like I didn't know what a supernatural horror film until like maybe Exorcist came out. Damn, I'm kind of putting the age on myself. But anyways,
You were
Thanksgiving as
around in
far
the
as
70s?
Whoa.
nah, thankfully I wasn't alive at that time, but I was able to watch it on VHS. And that
You
is a
said when
damn
The
good way.
Exorcist came out. I was like, when he came out, oh my
Like
god,
this is
Like, hold up now. Oh shit.
we got a grandpa in here.
old.
Granddad is up in the building. Shit. Slasher movies as a whole, they're almost all like this. This is like the kind of like a formula for them almost. Eli Roth did get a little bit gratuitous with it, but overall, I do like the innovation behind it and the fact that the villain could fucking fight. I was like, bro, like he could easily pass off as like a street level Marvel villain. The way that he handled all these kids and shit, and it's just like, bro, the way that you're killing them is like so unnecessary. But since you're mad and you want revenge, and this is how you have to kill them, then it's kind of acceptable as far as movie wise goes. So I didn't have too many complaints about it. They did get out of hand with a couple kills. I do like the way that they solved it though, because it's like everybody in the audience had to like try to put the puzzle pieces together. I didn't figure out who it was until immediately they said this guy is definitely military trained, and we saw the military equipment like way before that scene in the movie. So I was like, oh, this dude is a badass motherfucker.
I will say that's probably maybe my biggest complaint with the movie was, okay, you want to go the Scream route, you want to go the whodunit route, that's fine. Like, go that route, but make it a mystery. I knew it was Patrick Dempsey's character as soon as he came on the screen. I knew it. Like, as soon as he walked in at the beginning, when he walks in and he flirts with the girl, first of all, I knew he had a relationship with the girl the way she flirted with him. And then second of all, just the way he acted, I was like, he's going to be the killer. I was like, he was in Scream 3. He's my bet for the killer. And then he turned out to be the killer. And I was just like, okay. I was just like, I guess I saw this coming a mile away. And then they set up, I think my biggest problem is the writing. And I mean, like Nick said, he is like it does feel like a film student who's still working on their thesis film, because like literally sets up so many, like there's literally a scene, because like, you know, where she shoots him at the end with the musket type gun, like the muzzle loader, or like an old time musket, I forgot what it is, but like where you have to load it from the top. She literally said earlier in the movie, there's a whole scene where she stares at the guy with it and she's like, I used to have to shoot those, I hated it, or something. And it's just like, I see, okay, I know what's going to happen. She's going to shoot the killer at the end of the movie with it. And what does she do? She shoots the killer with it at the end of the movie. And I was just like, everything was so telegraphed, and it was so like,
it's such a basic slasher movie.
I mean, I think my thing about it is like looking at it, since it's like a slasher movie, and I hate to say this, I really do, and this honestly might be one of my biggest hot takes for the night, but you really can't get super, super creative with slasher movies. You really can't, because like the thing about slasher movies is they're like Batman villains, you know, one gimmick, one plot, you know, the killer kills on this holiday, or the killer is a clown or whatever. And I mean, Eli Roth has this problem where he kind of like, he did this with the Green Inferno, where it was like a throwback to like, you know, the cannibalism movies of Italy and like the 70s and 80s and all that. And he just wanted to present us like a throwback slasher movie, like from the 80s, where it was the really crappy, like holiday themed ones and all that. So, I mean, he was just really going for like a basic, you know, YouTube level slasher movie. You know, like he probably went like on WikiHow, you know, like how to write a slasher movie. But I mean, but the thing is, like I feel like, you know, someone else could have added some more, like, you know, pizzazz to it. It could have like made the killer more mysterious instead of just like, you know, teasing like him in the beginning kind of and all that. But like, I mean, at the end of the day, I think we do have to realize it is just a very basic slasher movie, just meant for the basic everyday moviegoer, you know. Like Thanksgiving was a movie that probably shocked a few people, Some people probably loved it, some people probably hated it, and at the end of the day, that's all it is. It's not going to change the horror genre. It's not going to kickstart a slasher revival or whatever. It's just going to bring in, a couple $1 million in the box office, and that's it.
Yeah, it's one of those horror movies that you go for just the sake of being a horror fan. Like you do not want to. Oh, I'm going to spend $16 on this because this is a must-see film.
Yeah.
No, don't put yourself through that. Go on Tuesday matinee nights for $6.
Yeah, and like also like this is not going to be like a classic you watch every Thanksgiving, or at least I won't. It's not going to be a movie I watch every Thanksgiving. Like I may not even ever rewatch it ever again. Like I have no desire. Like it was just like, okay, that was cool, but like I feel like it had if a different director and it had a better script, I feel like it could have been like a holiday mainstay for like every Thanksgiving you could watch it. Kind of like I watch Halloween every Halloween. And I know that's a big ask because Halloween to me is the greatest horror film ever made. But you could at least, I feel like you could at least done better. And like, I will say though, those are my critiques. I will give it credit where credit's due. There was a few scenes that made me actually like jump a little bit. Like it did have those good scenes that made me jump. And the one scene when the girl's in the oven.
Ooh, that made me watch it.
I put myself in that situation thinking like what would I try to do that with movies, like what would I do if I was in that situation, and that scene actually kind of terrified me because I was like, oh my god, like imagine being in a hot ass oven, like imagine being in an oven being cooked slowly. Like that was actually a well executed scene.
Yeah, it was.
And I mean, kind of like what I said earlier, I think that was probably like the most memorable scene from like kill from the movie, in my opinion, because the thing is, not only is she in an oven, like you're putting yourself in that position, like Jacob said, but she's tied up like how a turkey would be and all that. It's just honestly just a very, very just traumatizing, embarrassing way to die, like because they can't like bury her normally now, so they're like, it's just honestly was just such a good scene in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think going with talking about the kills and how Jacob said it's not going to be a holiday like a holiday classic or anything. I feel like if it had more actual like Thanksgiving related kills, it could have been a lot better, because I know one whole element was like that Instagram photo they were all tagged in, and all that. But I feel like some of the kills were just like not like Thanksgiving related at all. Like the one girl who got like, her face got dipped in the water, then the dumpster killed her or whatever. Like, how is that Thanksgiving related? Something like that. But I don't know. I feel like if it leaned more into a more semi-goofy side of Thanksgiving, then it would have probably became like a holiday classic.
Yeah, if that's what he's aiming for, he definitely missed the mark. But if he wasn't aiming for that, so context, a little bit of context. Thanksgiving 2 was renewed, so we should be expecting that around like 2025, maybe. Probably the same time of the year. So
it might even come out next Thanksgiving. Honestly, you could turn out a movie like this a year turnaround easy.
Yeah, the amount of effort he put in with this one, he could probably put the exact same amount in like 6 months and have it done. And like, golly, this story, I honestly don't think it's going to be top like 25 of any genre. But like, if you're just a diehard horror fan and like you watch shit like Sharknado and you get off on it and you consume more stuff just like that, then Thanksgiving is going to be right up your alley. I'm not a Sharknado fan, but I watch trash horror movies just like that for fun. So Thanksgiving was kind of like a higher bar of all of that.
I will say that, like, I like my 80s slasher movies, so like it did do a good homage to that. It did, like, there was it really? Oh yeah, it was announced. It's already greenlit. Thanksgiving 2 is going to be coming, but yeah, like I watch The Burning is one I can think of, like just a classic 80s slasher is The Burning. Like movies like that, like You know, like I like slashers like that. So for this movie, I felt like for the most part it handled it. So with that being said, I'll just go ahead and give my grade. When I first got out of the theater, I was kind of being nice to it. I gave it a B plus. When I think about it now, I'd give it a B. It's a B. Like it's just a solid B movie. Like it's just a B movie. Like it's not trying to raise the bar. It's not trying to be a classic. It's just take your friends before Thanksgiving. Let's go watch people get killed. I mean, and I mean, it's some people have issues with that. Like, oh, that's sick that you watch movies. You know, some people think, oh, it's sick you're watching movies to be entertained by the kills. But I mean, that's what slasher movies are. What boiled down to it, that's what slasher movies have become. It's just like interesting kills, and at least it had some interesting kills with like I said, it made me jump a few times. It made me scream. It made me squeamish a few times. We started cutting her thigh. Like I was like, bro. And then when the guy was puking, but his mouth was tied, so the puke was like spewing out like the bottom and the top of the tie. Like I was like, oh, that's just gross.
And he forced them to eat that girl. Like he was cutting pieces of her skin off and then throwing it on their plate. And he was like, "I'm going to kill you if you don't eat this." It was like, holy shit.
That's true. This one felt a little more mean spirited, and it's like. It's also why people are fast. Yeah, exactly. It's like it's the same type of morbid curiosity, but like what Lawson was saying about like this one, that's one of my issues with it is it felt like sometimes it was trying to be goofy, but then at the same time it was trying to be really serious and like really mean spirited. Where like the guy was like puking and he was cutting his thigh, and it went a little too mean spirited. I will agree with Lawson in the comments there with that. It wasn't fun enough. If you're gonna make it, it kind of felt like it had conflicting tones where it was fighting with itself. It wanted to be a throwback 80s slasher, but then also wanted to be this really serious slasher at the same time at some points. And that's why I just give it a B, because I feel like it was just dealing with itself, and it's just it's a good okay slasher.
Kind of jumping off what you were saying, Jacob, and what Lawson said about being mean spirited, and overall, I think my grade would be a B also. I actually thought about giving it like a B plus at first, because this movie has been like in the works ever since the original Grindhouse movie came out. Like Grindhouse trailer, like a lot of the Grindhouse trailers have become movies, like Hobo Was a Shotgun and a few others. So this is like the third or the fourth one, and it's just been like probably the most hyped up movie of his career. I do think the hype was let down by it, considering how long it took him to make it and stuff like that. But just jumping off what Lawson said about it being mean-spirited, I wonder how much influence the Terrifier franchise had on it.
Man,
I wonder how much influence it had, because Terrifier, for like Art the Clown, good character, but at the end of the day, it's a very both of them are very mean-spirited slasher movies. Like there are a few semi-funny kills, but then Art just takes it to the next level. So I wonder how much influence Eli Roth took from Terrifier when writing this movie or directing this movie, because again, what Lawson was saying, it was really mean-spirited at times, and kind of going back to my whole film studio thing is he needs actually settle on one tone for this movie, because I feel like if it was 100% goofy or 100% serious, it that movie would have been great. But you can't have this weird 50-50 thing going on. You can't have something funny, like a funny kill, like the turkey guy getting decapitated, then this guy throwing up, cutting her thigh, cooking her like a turkey. You can't have stuff like that, because it really just conflicts with the emotional value of it too. But overall, I would give it a B. It's like what Jacob said. It's just a B movie. I might buy it on DVD. I might not. I might watch it again in the future for fun. But I would say, looking at the rest of Eli Roth's career and his films, I would definitely put it at the very bottom as of right now.
Yeah, of Eli Roth's career?
Yes, because his other movies, his earlier ones, they did spark some waves in the horror genre, and they were really creative. This movie again just feels I don't want to say this, but it feels like a cash grab at times too. So I would say at the end of the day, it's definitely the bottom tier of his horror movies.
Yeah, what grade would you give it overall?
Overall, I would give it a B.
B.
I thought about giving it a B plus because it did take him a while to like make it, but then again, during like the time when Grindhouse came out, which what I think it was like 2013, maybe 2007 at like the earliest. I don't remember for sure, but it's been like a 10 plus year process for him to get this movie out, and I mean, considering how long it took him, he should have made honestly a better movie out of it instead of this. But yeah, overall I would give it a B. But then again, it does really give me the vibes like a 13-year-old who like got a lot of money and just decided to make his first big horror movie. But
Yeah. Shout out real quick to Emperor Will. He's in the comment section, and then shout out to Adrian, aka Grave, is in the comment section as well. She is the 2011 WHS commenter. So thank you guys for tuning in. We are just wrapping up our review for Thanksgiving, and I am going to drop my final score for it. So I'm right around the same score as Jacob and Nick with solid B. I might give it a B minus. Now that I put more thought into it, I'm not sure if this was like a John Carver smear campaign, which is why, it's not anywhere in the C's or D's. But I as far as slasher standards go, this met the bare minimum criteria to get in. But it's not like one of those like it changed the game for slashers forever. Because I still have a hierarchy. You got Halloween at the top, maybe a couple Friday the 13th movies. I think Candyman was a really good slasher film, and then the Scream series. But Thanksgiving comes nowhere close to any of them. But with that being said, it's not awful. It's just like one of those movies that you need to catch on a streaming service. But if you have the budget for it, go catch it on a Tuesday for like the cheapest deal you can get it for. But and last thing, as far as the conflicting tones goes, I think the goofy Thanksgiving tone, and then there's like this social commentary tone that they were working on, because they tried to get like the dad that owns like the Walmart where the Black Friday incident happened to shut down, and I think that was kind of like social commentary on like rich guys like putting money over like incidents that get people harmed or whatnot. And if you would have stuck to that like social commentary and just stayed serious with the kills as well, like the movie would have done so much better. But you can't mix like the goofy kills, the goofy moments, and then that one serious bit of social commentary about like the rich not having any empathy for like the people that keep them rich.
Yeah.
But that's all I got for
Also,
Thanksgiving.
last thing on Thanksgiving, did you guys see that Addison Rae, the TikTok star, was in this movie?
yes, that was actually after the trailer. I think that was like the first thing I saw. Like after the trailer came out, I just saw article after article about Addison Rae being in there, and I personally think she did a good like acting job in it. I think she did. Like I think all the actors did the best they could with the script and the director they were working with.
Absolutely. I don't even. Addison Rae sounds very familiar.
You probably know her if you've seen her. She blew up during like COVID times with TikTok and all that. And I think she's been in a few other movies, but like, yeah, like she's not really a trained actress. So like, I get it, but like, I don't know. Like, she was good, but like, you know, like if you're gonna put Addison Rae in the movie, might as well put me or you or Nick in the movie. You know,
right?
Like,
they captured that. Yeah, they captured that essence.
Put one of us, because I mean, like if you're gonna put a TikTok star, I mean, us and Nick have better
chemistry.
Better. I feel like we could act better than her, honestly. as Nick disappeared.
I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, like
Disappeared.
I'm sorry about that. I accidentally closed out, and then my screen, I'm like, oh crap. But
Yeah, it's all
Bye.
good.
But no, real quick, jumping off a little bit of what I heard Jacob said about that. I honestly feel like we could make a better Thanksgiving slasher movie than Eli Roth. Like, I honestly feel like we could.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? You know what? I've been thinking about this. This is the 8th podcast, and I've been thinking about this. Every podcast I beg A24. I'm the A24 beggar. This is like we should have like a segment. We should have like a graphic made where it's like Jacob begs A24. That's because every podcast I do this, and I'm gonna do it now and get it out of the way. A24, call us. Like, I know A24 didn't make this, but like, you can still A24. You can still do goofy. I know you're trying to be more serious. You're trying to make bigger movies, but you can still do goofy little horror films and like hire us. I mean, we can make better films, and I mean, if you want some TikTokers, we'll put some TikTokers in there. I mean, that's fine.
I have a TikTok. I only have like 4 videos, but I have a TikTok.
I have 2 videos. Yeah, technically, me and Nick. I mean, we have videos. Deontay, do you have videos on TikTok?
I don't make any, but I do repost a lot of shit.
See, he reposts them. I'm on TikTok. So like,
and that is Will's comment.
Hey. Yeah, I mean, I like the black guy that survives. I like that. We could totally do that. Instead, have like the dumb white girl that usually survives die. I mean,
yeah, it's
like
God damn it.
Like switch it up a little, but like, yeah, like that's gonna be my new thing. Is just like, this is the A24 begging session by Jacob, and yeah. A24, call us, please. I love you. Please, I love you. I own your merch. Please. I love you.
Please.
This isn't me begging. I'm not groveling, I promise.
He's not on his knees. He's not on his knees yet.
I actually am on my knees, but like.
Oh, shit.
But like, A24, I'm just saying. I'm here, but okay. Yeah, that's all I have for Thanksgiving.
Yes, Lord. Uh-oh. We got another topic that's going to be even bigger news than this one.
This one, guys, I'm just going to say before we bring this up, before we start talking about it, I feel like we may get some heat for this because like all 3 of us kind of have the same opinion on this movie, and I've been on Letterboxd, I've been on YouTube, and I've been on other things looking at the receptions for this movie, and this movie has actually some big fans behind it. Like there are some actually fans that are really like, this movie's great. Like I had somebody on Letterboxd said this is our generation's Ben-Hur, and I was like,
no, it's not.
I was like, did you watch the same movie as me? But I mean, I haven't seen Ben-Hur because it's too long. But like, like I don't think you can. No, like it's not even Gladiator. But anyway, like, yeah, like we might get some fire for this, guys. But like, let's just get into it.
Yeah, look, we're gonna need Nick's face for this. So
hold on, let me.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, real quick, Jacob, jumping off what you were saying about those reviews. Actually, I'm on a Napoleon sub on Reddit, and they are tearing this movie apart. Like they hate it. They hate it. But I think one reason why people like this movie is they actually don't know the story of Napoleon. They don't know the basic like points about Napoleon. They just know that he was a guy in France who lost the Battle of Waterloo, and he lived on an island till he died. And that's all they know. And I think the thing is with Napoleon is like, Ridley Scott, he's a big name. He's made like a lot of other good movies and all that. And I think, Joaquin Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby were 2 big names for this movie. Mm-hmm. And I just think like one reason why people like this movie so much, and I'm not trying to be rude when I say this, I'm not trying to be rude at all, but they're dumb about Napoleon. So they see like this Marvel historical type movie happening with big battles and sexy characters, and they're like, oh, cannons and sexy lady. Oh, I love this movie.
Girl pulling up her dress. Yes.
This movie should just be called Cannons and the Sexy Lady.
It should. Well, that's one thing about it is like, I think first off, right off the bat, it's impossible to make a 2 hour. What was it? It was like 2 hours long.
Like
2 hours and 38 minutes.
Yeah, 2 hours. It's impossible to make like a movie that long about Napoleon that covers his entire career. Like, you have to focus on one particular aspect, whether it be his political career, military, his love life with Josephine, or whatever. I feel like Scott was just like, first off, he was all over the place with that. Like, he starts here, then we're here, then we're here. Because if you actually look up those battles, like, so much happened in between some of them. Like, granted, Napoleon fought like 80 battles, so you cannot have every battle in that movie. But the thing is, he left out so much important stuff in it, and the stuff he did have was just inaccurate and just an insult to human intelligence at the same time.
And it's like, if you're going to cover Napoleon, you need to pick like a certain aspect of his life and stick to it, not several different aspects and then leave the other ones incomplete. And it's like, you're like, bro, why would you do this to yourself?
And like Ridley Scott, I've been seeing Ridley Scott. He's been going on like a terrorizing campaign. Like, I've seen some interviews with him where people are like actually like history buffs have like been like, Napoleon didn't do that. And he's like, oh, just fuck off. Like, like he does not care about the accuracy whatsoever in the interviews. At least, like, he's just telling reporters off, like, were you there? Were you there? And I mean, he's got a good point.
Yeah, it's like 2 or 3 different interviews I've seen so far.
But
I mean, those guys have done like the actual like research about him. They've read like the papers and the books and all that. And honestly, looking at this movie, I feel like he was trying really hard to remake Gladiator to a certain extent. I feel like he was trying to recapture that somehow.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know, it's just like, right off the bat, when I saw the original poster, I'm like, this movie is gonna suck because Joaquin Phoenix does not maybe if it was 10 years ago, he could have been a good Napoleon. But the thing is, he's too old to be Napoleon. He's too old to be Napoleon, in my opinion. And
he's like 49.
Oh yeah, he's old, and I also just feel like he was just like Arthur Fleck cosplaying as Napoleon for the entire movie. Like, there were some scenes where I was just like, is this Chris Chan? Is this Chris Chan acting like Napoleon?
Yeah, this is. It's like, oh shit, he's horny again.
What was up? I want to know what's up with the Napoleon mommy parts. What's up with that stuff? Like, Ridley Scott. I don't know. I know he didn't write this. I saw somebody else wrote it.
David Scarpa.
Yeah.
That's the guy I blame for all of these inaccuracies. Because Ridley.
Ridley Scott, he's got one of those directors. He's got overwhelming control over his movie. So he obviously probably had some say on what the script did. But I was just there was at one point where I was like, is this a parody? Because I was watching it and he's going, mommy, 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 and he's starting to crawl under the table. And I'm just like, what is am I supposed to be watching a historical epic or a weird soft porn? What is this?
And it's terrible porn too. It's just bro, is he about to pull underneath the table just to clap them cheeks or what? What the fuck is going on?
It was what's the point?
And it's everybody's in the room and they're watching, and it's just bro, y'all might as well.
I love this. I will say, the scene. This movie made me laugh so many times. The ending when he falls down dead, I laughed at the ending. When it went to black, when he fell in the chair and it went to black, I just died laughing. And it was the music was swelling. It was supposed to be dramatic, him dying, but him just falling out of the chair, I just died. I just died at that. And the scene, there's one scene where he's in there and she's like getting dressed and she's like getting dressed for something and he starts going and then and she's like I can't
My hair's did.
yeah, my hair's getting done or something, and then like all of the servants leave the room and then he goes at her for about a minute and then he's done. But like I died laughing that entire sequence because he was just going. I was
like, bro, what the fuck?
Are you doing? What are you
like telegraphing to her that you're horny or something? This dude's just humping the back of her dress, like. And
then the fact that Joaquin Phoenix, he just talked like Joaquin. He didn't even try a French accent. He didn't try at all.
At all.
It was terrible because like usually like they half-ass it. But again, he just sounded and acted like Arthur Fleck from The Joker throughout this entire movie. Like it was just such a bad movie because of that. Like, I mean, even like I will say though, Scott did a good job with like the costumes and the music because it was like appropriate to like the time period. But that was like the only thing. Like there was like Napoleon was a very horny man in real life. Like historically, he was a big sex addict. But the thing is, like, he just showed it in like such a weird, like middle school sleazy way. Like it honestly felt like Ridley Scott was like writing like revenge porn about Napoleon or something.
Yeah, because that probably was just a gimmick that Ridley came up with. Like nobody knows like the true dramatization of how Napoleon went up to Josephine, but it's just like, oh, I got a bright idea. Let's just make him say "mama" a couple hundred times, and oh shit, they're about to get it on again.
Well, he's the ultimate Sigma.
Well, I think I said this like a few weeks ago, or a week ago actually, that this movie is just a smear campaign because Scott is British. Like he was born in England or United Kingdom or whatever it's called. And historically, they don't like Napoleon. They still don't like him to this day. So I'm not surprised that a British director made Napoleon look like this weird, sexually frustrated Chris Chan-like of a man. Like, and like, I think the worst part is like there was an interview, I mentioned this to you guys, I have to find it actually, where Scott compares Napoleon to Hitler. Like, I think he says he was like the proto-Hitler or something like that, or they were equals. And don't get me wrong, Napoleon did he did a lot of bad things, awful things, war crimes in real life. But the thing is, none of them were featured in the movie. Every like dramatic, shocking, look how evil he is scene, like the pyramids or the ice breaking, none of that happened in real life. And I just felt like it was so sloppy. Like the pyramid scene, I actually rewatched that scene a couple of days ago on YouTube because someone uploaded it, and it's so just cliche and borderline racist in my opinion, because you got the French and I think you have like the Turkish Ottoman army on the other side, and their commanders like running around, and then Napoleon just fires the cannons while he's doing this the entire time. He's doing that, and then whenever the cannonballs hit the pyramids, the other commander just passes out and they win. It's just I just thought that was so lazy and cliche. It was like, oh, look, white man strong, type thing. I'm just like, what is this? And then I just feel like every battle scene was kind of like a Marvel movie where it was kind of like, just like a bunch of like fighting, but there was that one shocking element that made it stand out, like the pyramids or the ice breaking.
Yeah, the ice breaking that kind of played with my adrenaline a little bit, but the pyramid is just like, when I found out the truth about it, it's just like, for real. So I heard something about Napoleon in this movie might have been credited for making the nose off the Sphinx fall off. But the truth is, in real life, nobody knows how the nose went missing. And it's just like,
well, I mean, I think like Napoleon's biggest like credit in Egypt, I think like the actual thing that can be accredited to him is that one stone, the Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, finding the Rosetta Stone,
and he brought it back to France, and it's like never even mentioned in the movie. Like instead of like shooting the pyramids, how about you have Napoleon find that instead of like standing up to like this weird mummy and like trying to kiss it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
He just leans it to the right.
I swear to God, I thought he was going to kiss it. I swear to God, I thought he was going to kiss. Like I wasn't even, because like we were at the point in the movie where there's like so much parody before that. I was like, if he kisses this mummy, I'm going to die right now.
I want to piss myself in this theater.
Like I swear to God, I thought he was going to kiss it. I swear.
My OCD went crazy. I was like, bro, sit that man straight up. He just had him leaning to the left in his coffin. It's like
he just stared at him. And that scene goes on for like 5 minutes. And I'm just like, what is this?
Everybody in the background's just staring at him while he does this to the mummy. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
Like, I will say, though, like, I think one funny element about the movie is, like, his marshals and generals in the background. Whenever he just does something that's completely off the wall or just weird, they're just standing there like what the fuck's going on? But I will say, though, before we continue just ranting about this movie, how bad it was, my one scene I did like, probably the only scene I liked, was the burning of Moscow. I liked how it was shot. I liked the whole visuals of it. And I thought it would have been an amazing scene because he goes out there and he's like, who did this? And they're like, they did. He's like, don't be, he's like, who did this? Like, who actually did this? And they're like, your Majesty, they did. And it was such a good scene until he started grabbing his hat and like shaking his head and like having like a weird seizure or something. I'm just like, it was such a good scene up until that point. It's up until he did that.
So extra.
It can be in like right, because before that he was basically saying he has respect for Alexander, the leader of the Russians and all that, and like his generals are just standing there freezing or whatever. But it was such a good scene. It was just beautiful to watch. But then it was ruined because he grabbed his hat and started like shaking his head.
I will be honest. Like the only battle scene that I liked in this movie, and this, like a lot of people were talking about, oh, at least the battle scenes were great. I think they were edited so poorly. I think they were edited. It was some of the most awful editing I've seen all year of the action sequences. I thought it was edited poorly. And second off, the color grading. Ridley Scott, did you watch Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince and see that awful color grading they had in that movie and be like, inspired. Put it on a Napoleon. The color grading of this movie was so dull that like I said this even in our group chat. I was like, I usually don't fall asleep during movies, but the color grading was putting me to sleep because it was just so dull. There was no life to there was no life to what was happening on screen. And I was like, even in like the good moments, I was like, I get when you use color grading when things are going bad, dull, whatever. But like even in like the beginning when he's like conquering and stuff, the color grading is awful. And I'm just like, the editing was awful. And the only battle scene I like in the whole movie is the beginning when he takes over. I forgot. I think it's the English when he's in England when he takes over their port and he starts shooting the cannons at the ships. Yeah. It's like they sneak it at night, like they do it at night. That was the only battle sequence I liked. Like I loved when they shot the cannonball and like the horse just exploded and like the gore and like the whole thing with the people of I think it was in France, like the people were trying to rise up against them and they just started just shooting at all of them. Just like all I liked, like it had some good gore. Like the first 30 minutes, I was like, this is actually a pretty good movie. And then it just derails after that. Like I don't really have much positive to say after the first 30 minutes besides Vanessa Kirby. She gives a great performance.
Oh yeah. She's like one of the only positive things anybody has said about the movie. Like I went on TikTok last night on a whole binge of just Napoleon information, and like everybody's just on it about Vanessa Kirby's performance in it. And then one of their biggest complaints about Vanessa Kirby wasn't even about her. It's just the fact that she's got to be like 35 years old in real life compared to like 49-year-old Joaquin Phoenix. Mm-hmm. And he's like way older than freaking Napoleon was. Oh, yeah. And Josephine was supposed to be 6 years older than Napoleon. So it's just like a lot of feminists kind of got their 2 cents in on it. And it was just like, there goes Hollywood once again, basically telling the world that women in their 40s don't look good, 40s, 50s don't look good. So they completely cast like Vanessa Kirby, who's like 12 years younger than freaking Joaquin, and she's the one that's having sex with him and all that. And it goes down a rabbit hole. I totally understand where they're coming from. We have like a list of actresses in their 40s who look good as fuck. So Josephine could have literally been played by anybody else.
Well, I mean, kind of jumping off what you were saying about Vanessa Kirby being like one of the only good parts of the movie. I think again it just goes back to the script and also bad casting decisions too. Because again, I feel like if Joaquin Phoenix was not Napoleon, if Scott made the same movie but replaced Phoenix with someone else, I feel like it could have had a more redeemable factor. But I feel like given the script Kirby was given and looking at all the weird, awkward sex scenes she had to do, she did a very good job with it.
Yeah.
Like, she did it very well. Like, I feel like out of her and Phoenix looked more like a clown in those scenes than she did. Like, obviously it was written that way, but the thing is, a different actress could done a more goofy portrayal,
Yeah, because Vanessa Kirby looks good as Josephine, but I'm pretty sure there's an actress that's in her late 40s that looks just as good, and the scenes would have probably hit different if it was her and Phoenix. Even if they kept Joaquin Phoenix, if you got an actress that was older than him, then everything would hit different.
Well, I like this movie just because this movie was, besides Ferrari, it was my most anticipated after Killers of the Flower Moon. It was my most anticipated left of the year besides Ferrari. And I was just I went into it Nick, before he even saw it, he was already oh, this movie's,
Oh yeah, dude,
you were already down, so you went in with a down mentality. I went in with a different one. I went in with oh, this is gonna be great. And then even I was so disappointed. And I was with two friends, and my two friends, they had seen no trailers. They just knew it was Napoleon, Joaquin Phoenix, the guy that directed Alien, Blade Runner. They're okay. And then they kept looking at me and they're like, what did you take us to? What are we watching? They literally started laughing. They're like, what are we watching? And my one friend, he fell asleep probably 10 times. He's like, what are we? And my other friend was like, what are we watching? My friend James, he was with me. He was he kept looking at me during the mommy scenes. He was like, what did you take us to? And I felt horrible. I felt horrible. I was like, what did I put my friends through? I was like, I look like a weirdo creep now because I'm taking them to this weird fan fiction Napoleon Josephine stuff. It was just so off. And when it comes to Ridley Scott, let's talk about the filmmaking for a second. You think you're going to get great filmmaking with Ridley Scott with Gladiator, Alien, Blade Runner, even I like Body of Lies. I like shoot, I'm blanking.
G.I. Jane.
Huh?
Yeah, that was him, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he directed G.I. Jane too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. The last duel that came out in 2021, I think it's super.
That was amazing.
Underrated.
That was
I think it's super underrated. So I was excited and I was into it. I was ready to go, and even before in our group chat, because Nick was already down it, I was how are you going to smear this movie? You haven't even seen it. And then I literally, as soon as I came out of the movie, I texted in our group chat. I was like, Nick was completely right. This is a smear. I'm glad you deserve to smear it because it feels like a smear campaign against Napoleon. It feels like a parody of him. And if you want to talk, like I said, the filmmaking, Ridley Scott, I don't know what he did, but the color grading, awful. The editing of the battle scenes was awful. Everybody's talking about the lake scene, how cool that was. I didn't even like that. I thought it was so poorly edited, and it just kept showing cannonballs hitting ice, bloody guys in the water, and I was like, okay,
yeah, sinking, yeah.
And I couldn't tell who was who was fighting what on all of the battles. It was so because of the color grading, the way it's edited, you don't know who's on whose side, which side is being killed. It was so confusing where I didn't know. And if you want a great historical biopic, you come out learning something. I learned nothing about Napoleon that I didn't already know. And I know basic, Nick knows a lot more about it than I do. and you too, probably Deontay, after watching those TikToks, because like I
Yeah.
barely know. I only know about Napoleon, what I've learned in school. So like, I'm very minimal on my knowledge of Napoleon, and I still didn't learn anything new. And that's when you know it's not a good biopic, when you don't learn anything.
A damn thing. And what's crazy is because both of you guys were on Joaquin's ass about, well, not on Joaquin like specifically about like the lack of French accent. So the Napoleon was born in Corsica, so that's technically a Italian property. So he was basically an Italian person going, and I don't know how he got to France, but he grew up in France as a kid, got bullied because his accent was different. And so he just always been a Corsican, and Joaquin Phoenix didn't even use the Italian accent. So it's like you didn't use French or Italian. So it was zero effort.
He didn't even try. And like, it would have been okay if everybody else around him didn't try, I guess. I mean, it would have been but it would have been more okay than him not trying. And then like everybody else was trying though. Like everybody else seemed to at least try to have an accent. Vanessa Kirby did, all of them. And like, you know.
I guess another positive thing, I only have like 3 or 4 positive things to say about the movie. Another positive thing, kind of like about the casting, I do feel like Alexander and Wellington were casted perfectly, in my opinion. And I do wish they were given bigger like screen time, like a bigger role, because they did have a big role, I will say, because like Wellington defeated Napoleon, the burning of Moscow, stuff like that, and the whole ice battle and like them drinking wine, all that good stuff. But I do wish they did have like a bigger role, because I personally feel like Alexander and Wellington were some highlights, like along with Kirby, of the movie when it comes to acting.
Yeah, honestly, Ridley Scott should have just picked an aspect and just one aspect and ran with it. If this is going to be a battle sequence movie, nothing but battles. If this is going to focus on Josephine making Napoleon look like a huge cuck in public, then bro, like stick to that. Like, show us the rest of the guys she cheated on him with. Show us the black guys.
I would have been okay with that, because like honestly, well, I could actually relate to the Napoleon Josephine relationship. I've been in situations like that. I'm not saying I did the mommy stuff, because I've never done that. I will go on record. I've never done that. But like there was a few times like with their relationship, some of the toxicness of that relationship, I was like, I've been there. But like, other than that, like it was just a parody, and like. I was totally like against, like Nick was on one side, I was on the other before I saw the movie, and then I just completely came over to Nick's side after seeing the movie. And like I never do that, unless like I never change my opinion and just go to somebody's side. But like I immediately was like, Nick, you were completely right. Like it was just like insane. Like I could not believe that it was this disappointing.
Well, I mean, it's like, you know, kind of like what jumping off of like you guys were saying about how he has to stick to one aspect. The most famous movie about Napoleon is from 1970. It's called Waterloo, and it only focuses on like the Battle of Waterloo, Napoleon coming back from exile, and it's so good because of that. It only focuses on like that core aspect. But with this movie, it's just like, I feel like this movie is kind of like hopefully a peak in like these terrible biopics, historical movies we've been getting, where they just keep trying to cram all the major events of these people who have had this major, like, huge influence, long lives, you know, all that stuff on in like 2 hours and 30 minutes, you know. Because if you actually just read about Napoleon, even from like the Wikipedia page, like you can't fit that in like 2 hours and 30 minutes.
No.
I feel like I honestly would have been more interested in seeing just like a movie about battles, like Napoleon, like, you know, fighting like the British, you know, fighting the British with the whole French Revolution going on, then slowly working his way up to like the burning of Moscow, Egypt, stuff like that, then ending with Waterloo and him being exiled, you know, to the island and all that. I feel like that would have been a good movie. And honestly, I've seen this online a lot, is some people are wondering if he should have made like a mini series about this.
Absolutely.
I feel like I feel like an actual TV show, 3 seasons max, maybe 12 episodes, something like that would work a lot better. Because even then, you can have like each season dedicated to like one specific era of his life. Like the first season, his early, kind of like what you were talking about, like him getting bullied and all that. Then like ending it with like Waterloo and all that. But again, kind of like what Jacob said earlier, I think Scott had like a lot of control over this movie, and I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure he discouraged the screenwriters from reading books about Napoleon.
I saw that too.
Because he said there's like 100,000 books about him. This guy says this guy says that. So here's just some fun facts or whatever. And like, I wonder how many times Scott, like, after set, they got done filming, he walked into like the screenwriter's office, opened up the laptop, and he's like, time for another mommy sex scene,
Yeah.
I just feel like, honestly, kind of with that too, I feel like one aspect of this movie that was just terrible, kind of like what Jacob was talking, what you guys were talking about him being a cuck and all that, is how I feel like they were trying to portray a lot of the battles, especially the early ones, as like being influenced by Josephine, or like it was caused by Josephine. And that's just like, you're showing this man as like, pardon my French, a pussy whipped man going around the world shooting pyramids while his wife is having sex with some soldier back home, and then he goes off to like Russia or whatever. It's just like, you're showing this very, very insecure man being dogged on by his wife, and he's like, oh, I'm going to do this, and she's going to love me, and all that. I just feel like, again, like, it's a smear campaign. It's a parody. It's a Saturday Night Live sketch.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I'm just going to say it. I feel like Eli Roth wrote this movie. Like, he had to, because it's just like, there's like, outside of like the stuff I've listed, I feel like there's not like a lot of other redeeming factors about this, like.
Like, no, Vanessa Kirby is about as far as I can go. And honestly, she could have gotten her own movie or her own series. And if you like you were saying earlier, if he went with the aspect of like Waterloo or like any other battle in general, and he just did like a Josephine cameo to like remind everybody that she's married to Napoleon, that'd be cool. But like, this movie's torn between like their toxic relationship and then making these battles seem like they're the results of the toxic relationship. And it's just like, dude, I feel like a fucking 22-year-old made this shit. He got his heart broken when he got his heart broken before he wrote this film, and then he just projected all of it onto Napoleon, and then Napoleon became him. I don't know.
And like, another thing that I was thinking of was that like, if you want to do that, like, they've been making movies like what's it called? My memory's so bad, but they movies like Jackie, about like Jackie Kennedy, or like I think it's called it's Princess Diana's last name. I forgot what it's called, but it's Princess Diana's last name, and it's that movie. And then there's Priscilla that just came out recently. Like, those are actually big right now, where they're focusing on like one aspect of somebody famous. You could have done like a Josephine version of that with Napoleon.
Right.
If you wanted to go with that trend that's happening right now with these female biopics, that's just based on like the girl and like their experience, the woman. You could have called it like Josephine and Napoleon or something, and had Vanessa Kirby be the lead, and maybe a less known actor as Napoleon that actually looked like Napoleon, and like do something like that if you wanted to do that. And like, there's another thing that I actually learned, that Stanley Kubrick was obsessed with Napoleon, and he worked on a film for 10 to 15 years. He was in pre-production of a Napoleon film for 10 to 15 years, and it was going to be like an epic. And like, I wish we would have, and he obviously died after Eyes Wide Shut, but like he ended up making Eyes Wide Shut instead. But like he had a period where he was just obsessed with Napoleon, and I can just imagine how much better that movie would have been. And that's just sad that he didn't get to make that, because that would have been epic.
That would have been top tier like storytelling as far as like biopics goes. I pretty much, if we keep Vanessa Kirby and like we did like a spinoff for her or something like that, we should definitely go for a younger actor and definitely portray like a late 20s something Napoleon. Like Napoleon died at like 29 or something like that. I can't remember all the specific details, but Napoleon was in his 20s, I think, when he died, and Josephine is 6 years older than him. So if Vanessa Kirby's like 35, then it's a lot believable if she's like seducing a younger guy, and she's a lot more mature than him. And a lot of historians say that her maturity plays a huge role in Napoleon's life, and Ridley Scott left all of that out from in between the battles and whatnot. So it's, yeah, a lot of people are pissed about that aspect of it.
Well, kind of jumping off what both of you said, I like about Jackie and Spitzer, and those movies are great. I love both of them. I feel like it just focuses on one aspect. JFK plays a very minor role in Jackie. The royal family, they play a bigger role in Spitzer, but they're still kind of like side characters. And Priscilla, Elvis plays kind of like a more minor role in all that. And actually, comedy like about the whole Stanley Kubrick Napoleon film, I think Spielberg found his notes, and they're actually going to try to get made into like a mini series, because I think they found like Kubrick's notes and scripts for like a lot of his unfinished projects. So now they're getting like passed around to different like Hollywood directors who were like contemporaries of him, and they're going to try to like make these movies and all that. But again, going off what you were saying, I just feel like like a Josephine movie that focuses solely on her, and Napoleon's like a side character, if you will. I feel like that would be good. And like I think the thing is with that, it's just I feel like you like with that there has to be like a certain tone, and it can't just be all this weird sexual mommy.
Mama.
Like, I mean, maybe a couple scenes where her maturity in seducing Napoleon is shown, but not in a weird, sleazy way.
Yeah.
A more realistic way,
Because he's just all in it for them cream pies, man. He's just like, give me an heir now. And it's like, God damn, bro.
Yeah, that's like a lot of the movies. Just like, I want an heir. I want a baby. I want a child.
Right now.
He's like, you're a piece of shit because you can't have kids.
I'm going to smack you because he won't get pregnant.
That's so much of the movie. And I'm just like, but then they're also trying to tell the battles. I'm just like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, I'm learning nothing. We're jumping back and forth. The editing of the battles is terrible. The color grading's awful. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Well, honestly, like, this movie kind of reminded me of Blonde. That one Marilyn Monroe Netflix movie.
Exactly.
No, actually, real quick. Actually, the ending is very similar, because in Blonde, she dies, and like her dad's like, "Come to heaven," and like at the end, there's like Josephine. It's like, Napoleon, time for cream pie, and all that. And like, honestly, Ridley, I'm gonna say it right now. I want this recorded. I want this written down, and I hope that British piece of shit sees me saying this. Ridley Scott ripped off Blonde because he has no creativity left.
Yeah, all his creativity
I
gone.
swear to God, like, me and Nick didn't plan this at all. We never talked about this in the chat or anything. When I finished watching Napoleon, the only movie that came to mind was that Blonde Netflix movie. Like, that's literally what I thought of. Like, it seemed, they're like so similar in how the way they kind of just like smear the main character and like make it all like weird, awkward, uncomfortable sexual things. And like, and they're both, I give them both the same grade. Like, they're both like,
damn.
Like, I'd give them both the same grade, which I gave Blonde a C-. So there goes my grade for Napoleon. I give it a C-, and that's me being nice, because I understand, but like, that's literally what I thought it was. Blonde that's what it reminded me of, is just how it was. And like, the only reason I give it a C- is because there is like the battles, like to be able to direct, he did have like a lot of extras on those battles, and that's hard to do, is to direct the battle scene and like have all those extras. Like a lot of work went into that and the production design, so that's why I give it a C-. And Vanessa Kirby, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a C-. I think on Letterboxd I gave it a 2 out of 5. Like, and I mean that's how I went into this movie thinking this is going to be my top 5 of the year. It's going to be up there with Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and like coming out saying that, and like I don't want to dog Ridley Scott, and like I love Joaquin Phoenix, but it was just no. Show me a Stanley Kubrick version, because I mean, Nick was right. They do have the pre-production notes, because he had 10 to 15 years of worth of notes on just Napoleon pre-production stuff. Like he was in pre-production of it, and like he just could never get it made for some reason, and he ended up turning to Eyes Wide Shut, which is also one of my favorite movies. But like the fact that like give those notes to, like, I wouldn't even say Spielberg, because he makes too sentimental. Spielberg and Kubrick aren't on the same. For me, it'd have to be like Denis Villeneuve or like Nolan. Really, would have to take on
Nolan.
Nolan would be almost perfect, because he would keep it respectful to, because he loves Kubrick. So like he would be very respectful of Kubrick. Nolan would probably be the top guy I would want to take those notes and make a movie out of it.
Yeah, no. If you did want to smear Napoleon's like legacy, like Nolan could do that, and he could hype him up. Like
exactly,
he's just that good of a director.
I don't know. Like I think my grade for this movie, like I'm gonna give it a D. I'm only giving it a D because again, production value, and it does take a lot to like have like all like those big battles and all that. But at the end of the day, like, you know, like it's just like one of those things. Like he had all these big battles, all these extras, and he did not like live up to the potential of all those extras. They were just running around doing this and that. You know, you couldn't tell who they were, if they were French or Russian or Austrian or whatever. And again, at the end of the day, for me, Kirby and Wellington and Alexander, the only like highlights acting wise, Burning of Moscow, beautiful scene. The only scene I actually like from the movie. And again, I just feel like overall, it was just a disappointment. It was a smear campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And I will put it at the very bottom of Scott's like films. Like it's at the bottom tier of his movies. Like I just feel like he was trying to like. I honestly don't think he cared about this movie at all. Like I think he was like on like, because it's weird because he bragged that for the amount of time it took Scorsese to make Killers of a Flower Moon, he made 4 movies, and one of those was like The Last Duel, which again, amazing movie. I love that movie, but it's just like he just dropped the ball like so hard on this. Like
man.
And the thing is, I knew from day one when I saw the poster and I saw the original trailer, I'm like, he's shooting the pyramids. That did not happen, you know. But I just think at the end of the day, it's a D. Like it's a D movie because again, the actors did the best they could with the script they were given, and that's the main factor for me. But also, it's just like it could have been the, like what Jacob said in the very beginning, what someone said, it could have been the Ben-Hur of our generation. It could have been that epic movie that defines our generation. Mm-hmm. And because right now, I think the only movie that epic movie that defines our generation is Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
I feel like that because like I know there's been other like movies like The Last Duel, but it was not that big of a movie. And 300, that was more like a Gen X millennial movie, honestly, when it came out. But I just feel like Ridley Scott, you know, just retire already. You know, call it a day. You know.
Yeah, you had so much potential, and you just fumbled that bag, man. Honestly, I'm probably going to give it a solid C. I think a bulk of the positive came from Vanessa's role in it. Now that I know more about Napoleon and Josephine, it won't go anywhere past C for me. And then, like Jake and Nick was saying, the battles had so much potential, but it kind of just went sideways. He had so many extras, and then you see the swords clashing and whatnot. you don't really see a whole lot of stabbing and beheading going on, but you hear the sound effects, and it's just like, bro, that is a post-production nightmare.
The editing and the camera work maybe not have ruined it, but for sure the editing ruined those scenes. Like whoever edited this movie is not a good editor. I don't know who it was, but like I could have edited this movie better, and that's my weakest strength. Like editing is just like, I know editing is so hard, so like I don't want to down editors because I mean that's one of the hardest jobs, and like
it's tough as fuck.
They don't get the editors don't get the credit they deserve. They deserve more credit because like editing a movie is like basically making the movie the third time, and like whoever edited this movie, they just dropped the bag.
Oh yeah, no, they threw that bag out. Like they threw it out completely.
Yeah.
Like honestly, they should have like sent the movie to me to edit.
Yeah.
I would have made that movie amazing. I would at least color graded it correctly.
Exactly.
But gentlemen, since we're done talking about Thanksgiving and Napoleon, I think it's my time to head out. You know, I just want to say I have appreciated this time talking about these movies. I have enjoyed this year of the film podcast. You know, talking about the movies. Absolutely. I am very excited to see what's going to happen next year for all of us, and to see what movies come out. You guys take care. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Happy holidays. Yeah, that's all I got for Napoleon, unless you got anything else to add.
Oh, I forgot to tell Nick about which he said he's not going to watch it, and I'm probably not too, but like to let the viewers know that there is a 4-hour cut coming to Apple TV on streaming, which that's my last thing I have to say about Napoleon. That's stupid that a studio is going to release a 2.5-hour cut and then say reserve the 4-hour cut for a streaming service you have to pay for. So like,
yeah,
Apple, what are you doing with that? Like, that's messed up. But like, also, I feel like, and a lot of people are saying all that 4-hour director's cut's gonna fix this movie. It's gonna be better. It's gonna be like the Snyder cut of Justice League. It's gonna be so much better. Honestly, the problems are already there in Napoleon, and I think I don't want to watch another hour and a half of this. Like, I'm not even gonna bother with it. Like, this will be though I saw it once in theaters, I'm not even going to check out the director's cut. Like, I don't care.
We got way too many better options coming out anyway. Who would waste 4 hours of their day when you got shit like Ferrari that's about to drop?
And that's the pacing is god awful because like it's 2.5 hours. I felt like I was in the theater for 6 or 7 hours. It was so like I never walk out of a movie. I almost walked out of this movie with about 20 minutes left. Like I literally started, me and my friends, we were talking about leaving because like it was just like not going anywhere. The pacing was so slow, and like it's just so sad that it came to that. It could have been so much better.
Yeah, I fought so hard to stay awake, but by the time I was done with my popcorn, it was lights out. I think I woke up like right when he got exiled for the first time, and then it was like, oh shit, I didn't miss anything crazy. Hopefully I didn't, but he was in St. Helena when I woke up.
I'm against this movie too because I had to pee. The last 30 minutes of this movie, I had to pee so bad. I held my pee for this movie because I was like, well, because I wanted to give it its full shake. I wanted to be like, you know what? If the last 30 minutes is good, I'll give it a better rating. So like, you made me hurt my bladder, Ridley Scott, and you disappointed me. Like, I could have damaged my bladder for you, and like, you still disappointed me. How dare you?
Damn shame. How the audacity of this director.
I should have just left and went pee, and that would have been more entertaining with staring at the wall.
You probably wouldn't have missed anything. Honestly, I thought about going to pee during the movie, but there was some drawn out shit with the pacing, so.
And with that being said, I have to grab something.
No problem.
If you guys want a Ridley Scott movie.
Uh-oh. We got some good Ridley Scott content on the way. And he just did a movie recently too, so
I'm trying to find it.
Before Napoleon, and I think that movie was better.
Let me grab the other one while I'm at it. I'm in here with my movie shelf. Here we go. Okay. if you want to watch Ridley Scott, you want to watch a historical epic, watch Gladiator.
Yep.
Watch Gladiator, top 50 favorite movies of all time, still book. And then he just released this in 2021, The Last Duel.
Yeah.
Watch The Last Duel. This didn't do any well in theaters whatsoever, but it is a great film, and it actually is like a very big feminist movie. Like it's really big on like women's rights and stuff, and like how it was shown in that day. So definitely watch those two.
Yeah, he probably won some brownie points off of that one. He lost them. He lost them with Napoleon for sure.
Yeah, but like watch. I wanted to do that a little bit because like watch those two movies. They're great.
You'll forgive Ridley if he ever comes out with another banger like those. Otherwise, if that's his final film, ignore Napoleon. Watch everything else.
Yeah.
But
okay, so I guess Hunger. Let's do Hunger Games because I know people are into that. The Ballad of the Songbirds and Snakes. I don't. Yeah, I will say, I did a double feature of this and Napoleon and my two friends that I was with made me watch this movie because I wasn't even going to see this movie in theaters. I loved the Hunger Games when they came out. They came out when I was like the movies came out when I was like in middle school, high school. So like they were a huge event. I remember they kind of like Twilight in that way. And like I watched all of them, loved them, but I haven't seen them since. And this is a prequel. And I went to go see this movie. And I thought this was going to be the letdown, and like I was ready for Napoleon. This blows Napoleon out of the water. Like this movie is like, I'll just give you my grade straight up. It's A- for me. Like it's almost an A. It's an A-. They rushed the ending. That's my only issue with it is they rushed the character development of a few characters. But like, have you seen any of the Hunger Games?
I have not. I needed to see the first one. We've been trying to see the first one for a long time, but yeah, I've been whole series behind.
Yeah, but like for fans of if you're a fan of the Hunger Games series, definitely go watch this. Like it's actually longer than Napoleon. It's 2 hours and 47 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. Yeah. And it goes by. It feels like it's 3 hours shorter. Like it goes by so fast. The pacing is so great. There's some great cinematography. Rachel Ziegler is in this movie. That's a celeb crush of mine. She's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And beautiful voice. She's a great singer too. I think that's how she got her start. I think she started in she was some kind of musical or something. She was in the West Side Story, Steven Spielberg remake.
Oh, okay.
But like, I haven't seen that. But like, she has some original songs in this movie that like I've listened to outside of the movie. Like she sings a few like original country songs. I mean, it's that are actually really good. And like, it's just for the movie, but like she really good voice work, singing with her. The production value is great on this movie. The coloring, beautiful shot, cinematography. It shocked me how much I was going in like, oh, and like, I thought it was going to be like a Twilight type, because like I don't want to be I'm going to sound misogynistic when I say this here.
Uh-oh.
But like I just saw a bunch of girls getting excited for it, like women that I know in my life getting excited for it. And I saw no men really talking about it. So I was like, oh, it's one of those movies. But like I was so wrong. Wrong. It is so good. Like I'm going to own it when it comes out on 4K. Like it may be the best Hunger Games movie, honestly. It's right there with the first one or Catching Fire. But like, and I haven't seen those movies in years. And like, you don't have to see those movies. You don't have to rewatch them. I will say watch them first if you're going to watch it, because it does help add context to who Snow, because it's about the president or the leader of the nation in Hunger Games before he's the president, like his rise. He's like a teenager, 20s. And like, it actually made me feel emotions. Like there's a scene where like I had my mouth open for a full minute. Like it had some shocking scenes, and like if it didn't rush the betrayal of a character at the end of Rachel Ziegler's character and Snow's turn to evil, because he turns to evil by the end of the movie because he is evil in the Hunger Games movies. if they didn't rush that, it would be like an A for me. Like it was a great movie, great soundtrack. It slapped. It was and like Rachel Ziegler, super talented, just beautiful. She can sing, and like I said, you could listen to the songs outside of the movie, and they're still good. And like, I was really like, this was the first movie I've seen her in. Besides, she was in Shazam: Fury of the Gods. You know
she was one of the villains when the God ladies.
She was the young one of the God.
Yeah,
ladies. That's the one that is.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and like that was the first movie I'd seen her in, was Shazam: Fury of the Gods. So like, and like, I liked her in that, but like this movie, like she's super talented actress. You know,
she's building like a hell of a resume for herself. I like that for her.
Yeah, I mean, if she's single, you know, hit Jacob up, but like, but like shoot my shot, but like,
yeah.
But for real, like, she is so talented. Like, her singing was amazing in the movie. Her acting, she was the best part of the whole film. The guy that plays Snow, I have no idea what his name is. I'm sorry, I didn't look it up before. He was amazing too. He deserves his creds. He was great. Overall, if you're a Hunger Games fan, or if you're not, watch the Hunger Games movies, then watch this. I think they're all worth it. I mean, the last two are kind of like, definitely this prequel was a great prequel, and it shocked me because I went in like, oh, this movie's just gonna be boring and like suck, and like Napoleon's gonna be the epic of the night, and they flip-flopped on me. Napoleon was a disappointment, and this was a shock. Like this not to foreshadow my top of the year, but this could be in maybe my top 20, top 10 of the year, maybe. Like it's great. Like it's a great movie.
Yeah, I need to get started on my list too. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, like that's gonna be the next. But while we're talking about, that's gonna be the next podcast. By the way, it'll be in January, wrapping up this
2023.
year. Yeah, and it'll probably be top 10 movies of the year, probably. But like, you may see this movie in that podcast. But yeah, that's all I really have to say on that movie. I just wanted to shout out Rachel Ziegler because she's really talented, and this movie is just a great movie.
Hell yeah, I definitely got to check. How many of Hunger Game movies are there in total?
5 now.
5? Oh
yeah,
damn,
it's not too bad. It's not like the MCU level size. It's not even Harry Potter size. It's not too bad. They're all fairly short. They're pretty quick watches. You could get through them in like a week or two. Like they're pretty. Yeah, I'd recommend them.
I may go ahead and start it this weekend. You said good. A- for the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Yeah, A-. And if you guys want to follow me on Letterboxd, it's Jacob Smith 9817. If you guys want to follow my Letterboxd, because I'm active on there, just rating movies, and like I rate movies of older movies on there. I need to be more active on Instagram, but like, yeah, 4 out of 5 on there. A-. It's a really great movie. Like it, besides a few writing issues, it's great.
Yeah, follow Jacob on Instagram and Facebook as well under Jacob's Film Perspectives. It's spelled exactly how you see it. And
I haven't been active since June. I'm sorry about that. I've only been posting about the podcast, but like my last review on there was The Flash, and like, I kind of want to. I'm going to run something by you after this podcast that I'm thinking about doing, but there may be some new content coming to my Instagram that I'm thinking in my head. But like, so be on the lookout for that. I'm looking to revamp my Instagram. But yeah, Hunger Games, Ballad of the Songbirds and Snakes. Go see it if you're a Hunger Games fan, or if you're not, watch the movies and then see it. I think it's worth it. It's a really great movie.
Worth every penny. Yes, Lord. So that is the Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. And then last but not least, we have the Holdovers, the Alexander Payne film.
Alexander Payne joint. This is his second film. I think I've seen. He made Election. If you've seen that. It was a young Reese Witherspoon in like the 90s. I don't know if you've seen any Alexander Payne.
Maybe not off the top of the head.
Sideways, Downsizing, Nebraska, Election are the ones I can think of by him.
I don't think so.
He's not really like huge. I've only seen Election out of those, so like I haven't seen many of them either. And Election was good. It's a good movie, but like I've never loved it. But like The Holdovers, man, I didn't think a movie could beat Killers of the Flower Moon.
Man,
for my number 2 spot. But let me tell you, The Holdovers, number 2 of the year. I'm just gonna spoil that right away. I'm not gonna give you my 1. I'm not gonna give you my 3, 4, 5, 6. But I'll give you my number 2, and it's The Holdovers. Like, if one movie had not come out this year that's better than The Holdovers, which you guys probably already know as much as I've talked about it over the last few podcasts, but I'm not going to say it just to keep the anticipation for the January episode. But like, if that movie hadn't come out this year, Holdovers would be number 1. This movie is perfect. This movie is a masterpiece. I will watch this every Christmas. It's actually a Christmas movie, like thanks holiday type movie.
Hell
too.
Yeah.
And it's warm. It's also realistic. Like, it's not overly cheesy. It's warm. It's realistic. It was Paul Giamatti stars in it. He was the Rhino in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
He sure was.
I mean,
for all the nerds.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that for like the people watching the podcast that don't know about like actors. I was trying to think of something famous he was in. He was in like Big Fat Liar. If you're a '90s kid, I mean, Big Fat Liar was a classic. And a few other movies. He's a Lady in the Water, M. Night Shyamalan. But he was the writer
in that too.
Yeah, and he is epic in this movie. He deserves an Oscar. I won't say he deserves the Oscar because I think Cillian Murphy deserves it, but he deserves a nomination at least. He deserves a nomination, and there is an actor in here. It's his first, Dominic Cessna, I think is his name. It says introducing him in the movie, so I'm guessing it's his first role. He absolutely kills it. And there is the lady in this film, the black lady in this film. I don't know the actress's name, but she deserves Best Supporting Actress, and I stand by this. Or Best Supporting Actor, whatever it is, she deserves it because, like, I'll just tell you guys the plot. It's mainly about, it's called The Holdovers because it's about this boarding school in Massachusetts in the 70s. Yeah, it's like right at the cusp, the early 70s, and it's like the holdovers, these kids that don't have anywhere to go during Christmas, so they stay over at the campus while everybody else is gone with their family and stuff. And Paul Giamatti is the teacher that gets stuck with the duty of taking care of them and making sure nothing goes awry. And then the lady, she's the cook to keep it going, and her son just died, so she has nowhere to go for Christmas, so she stays there to cook the food and like take care of the kitchen. And like everybody just ends up leaving. There's like 4 or 5 of them at the beginning, but then something happens where they get to go home, but like his family, he doesn't get to go home. And the main actor, I forgot his name, but like it's his first role, and it's him and Paul Giamatti and this lady, and it's basically they become a family over this Christmas break as this boarding school. And like they all come from different backgrounds, different things, different ages, different everything, religions, races, everything. But like you can relate to every single character in this. I related to the lady, related to Paul Giamatti's character and Dominic's character. Like, you could just find yourself in all these characters in different ways. And like, it's a coming of age tale. It's a drama. It's a existential movie about like life and like, but it's also a Christmas movie. And there's a lot of deep themes about like life and just like how crappy life can be, and like how life doesn't always go your way, and like life doesn't turn out the way you think it does. And like,
right.
you're stuck 40 years later doing something you never thought you'd be doing just because of something stupid you did as a kid, or you lost a family member and you're struggling. Like there's so many different aspects, and like that's all I want to say about the movie, because I think it's best because I went in with just the trailer, and it's shot, by the way, like a 70s movie. So it's shot like it was made in the 70s.
Yeah.
They use 70s film style techniques. Even the trailer is shot 70s wise. They use 70s font. The music, the soundtrack is beautiful. It's all like folk 70s music. And like they even use directing techniques like crash zooms and stuff like that only like directors in the 70s really use, and like 80s. Like you don't really see a lot of the filmmaking techniques that they use in this movie anymore in today's films. And it's just like a nice little throwback to like the 70s films. And it's just warm and comforting, but it's also like depressing and sad at times. And like it gave me goosebumps a few times. It's sad. But it's also, at the end of it, it's not a happy ending either. But like at the end of it, you feel hopeful, even though it's not a happy ending. And I would just say, like, other than that, just everybody needs to watch. Like, I think anybody would like this movie. Everybody needs to watch this movie.
Yeah,
like,
especially just in time for the holidays.
Yeah, like it's a perfect, like, sit down with your family, watch holiday movie. It's only I think it's right under 2 hours. Like the pacing is it goes by super fast. It's not a long movie. And it's Alexander Payne it made me want to go in his discography, where now he's on, all of his movies are on my watch list to watch that I haven't seen, because like he directs the hell out of this movie. Like the camera work, the sound design, the way it looks, you feel like you're in the 70s, like production design, my God, like everything about this movie. It's getting looked over by Killers of the Flower Moon and Napoleon and what else? Hunger Games, even Thanksgiving, other movies, because it came out around the same time. But it really deserves a theater. Like it deserves a full ticket price theater. I mean, like it is. I mean, it's an A+ for me, 5 out of 5, masterpiece. It's honestly probably top 200 favorite films of all time now. It's probably my top 5 favorite Christmas films. Like it is. And I know it's high praise, but it is that good. Like it is. I couldn't believe, like I was shocked when me and my friend that went and saw it left the theater. We were both shocked. We were like, that movie, they don't make movies like that anymore. Like it's one of those movies you just say they don't make them like that anymore. Like you don't see movies about this subject shot this way and with these great themes anymore. And it's sad that we don't, but like just go support this movie. Go watch it any way you can. If you stream it, but like it is fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Go watch this movie. Like if you get anything from this podcast, this last podcast of 2023, if I have anything but like a final word, I would say go watch The Holdovers. Like it is just magnificent. Like it is. The more I think about it, the more I like it. And like I would get into plot and I would talk about it because it is. I could do spoilers, but so many people haven't seen it. I mean, I don't want to. I want you to go in as blind as possible, because that's what I did. I saw the trailer and that was it. And that's the best way to go in, is just go in. And I will tell you, you're gonna like this movie. If you don't love it, you may not love it like me, because you may not be like, because I'm into like, I'm a film major, so I'm into that filmmaking stuff. But like, even if you're not into filmmaking, there's no complex like things you got to think about. It's very real life stuff that everybody who lives and breathes can understand. Like if you have a life, you can understand this movie perfectly. Like it's so much about like the downfalls of life and how life can like just turn on you, and like how you overcome like tragedies and like adversities. And it's
something that we needed.
It's something we needed, especially in this time and period with everything going on in the world. It's just a movie we need to just remind you that life does go on. You can still do things no matter, what happens. You can get through adversities. I'm not trying to be all philosophical here, but just go watch The Holdovers.
Dude, man, that's what I'm going to theaters for. That's what I try to go to theaters for, man. It's just like directors being able to pay attention to detail and be very consistent. So great continuity and great story. Uh, the plot doesn't have to be anything too like mind blowing or mind boggling. If I can connect to at least one character, then I always say the story could be it has the potential to be successful. So if Holdovers can do that for me with just one character, then it's a wrap.
And I think you'll connect with every character. There's
Mhm.
I think all three main characters are going through something that I think everybody's gone through at some point in their life. At least if you're, at least if you're, our age, a little bit older. But like, yeah, like it's just like, yeah, I can't say anything more great about it. Like I've said everything I can say without spoiling it, and because it's nice to go in with little. It's one of those movies. The less you know about it, the better going into it. Definitely go watch The Holdovers. It is magnificent. Second favorite movie of the year. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably would have been a longer review if me and Nick had seen it, but man, I'm probably going to make my way to the theaters to catch it before it leaves, hopefully soon.
Yeah, I really wish that Napoleon didn't take your money.
I know.
Because it's sad because Napoleon is like overshadowing Holdovers, and it's just like
for no reason, dude. It's like Jesus Christ.
Like you'll get a lot more for your money's worth with the Holdovers than Napoleon. I'll tell you that much. But like, yeah, Holdovers, second favorite movie of the year. Go watch it. A+, great masterpiece.
Yeah, it's been out since like October, and I think it's still at Marcus now. But yeah, Godzilla just came out.
And yeah, it had an early release in October. I want to say the 28th, like right before Halloween. It was like an early release, which is a weird early release because it is set around Christmas time. So they should have released it probably like now, or they should have released it either now or like. But I think it went wide like early November.
Yeah,
which is a good time because it could fit in with that Thanksgiving holiday in between Christmas. It just this time of year it fits in with for sure.
Yeah, but I'll definitely check that out before Christmas sneaks up on me, or at least it sneaks its way out of theater. So thank you for the recommendation, and that's all I had for the Holdover. So
yeah, that's all I can say because I don't want to spoil anything else.
Yeah, and that was the final movie for tonight. You had any other announcements that you needed to make, or?
No, not really. I saw here in the chat that Nick said we should also have a graphic where it keeps track of the films and the grades we give them. That would be cool if we could do that. We should try that, guys. But other than that, any comments? Sounds like Meter and the Eternal doesn't let him. Dang, called you out there.
Yeah, he's a huge Eternals hater, but it's all good.
Hey, I like Eternals, but I get it.
Yeah, I see why people don't like it, but it's not worth all the it's terrible trash garbage and all that shit. It's a point A from point B movie. You see it once, that's all you need.
Yeah, are they ever going to explain the frozen celestial or whatever it is that's still in Earth in the MCU?
Yeah, a lot of people crack jokes and make memes about it now. A lot of people that are like tapped in on all the Marvel rumors about what the directors are doing behind the scenes. We've all got confirmation that Captain America 4 is when we finally get the next bit of information on that frozen celestial and Earth.
Yeah, God, it'd be about 4 years since that's been there, but okay.
Yeah, it's like Jesus Christ, man.
But
Feige will figure it out.
All I have left to say is the only movie left of this year that I care about is Ferrari. I know Wonka's coming out it is what it is. I mean, I've heard it's a fun, whimsical time. You guys know about my Oompa Loompa fetish. I might go watch Wonka just for the Oompa Loompa, but like, yeah, I mean, I might go see it, but like, really, I'm probably just gonna wait and see Ferrari, and that's about it for the rest of the year for me. Michael Mann, I love it. I think that'll be probably in my top 10 of the year, hopefully, unless it's like a Napoleon situation again. I hope not, but like, yeah. And like, other than that, I'll be back January with a recap of 2023. Maybe cover some movies that I didn't get to cover on this podcast, and do something fun for the end of the year. But like, yeah, this is the last Jacob's Film Perspectives of this 2023. It's been fun. 8 episodes. I mean, it's been a great time. I'm just happy that you guys have been watching. I'm happy that I got this platform thanks to SNN Network, Deontay, Will, everybody, Cameron, everybody over there. I mean, I just appreciate you all, and like, I thank you guys for like allowing me to come and be a part of this network and have my own podcast. Like, that's just really cool, man. And I like, this podcast has really been like one of the highlights of my year, is getting this podcast and being able to talk about movies with y'all, and having Nick on, and having Lawson on, and Mac, and I think that's about it, really. And having those guests on, and just having you as my co-host, and always helps, because I struggle to death when you're not here. You're the king of hosting, and
I feel it.
You're the king of hosting. I swear, it's a hard. You guys think it's easy hosting a podcast? It is a hard job.
It's hard as hell.
I don't know how Deontay keeps track of hosting all these podcasts that the SNN Network does, because it's hard.
It's stressful as shit.
I give you all kudos for that, man. But yeah, just other than that, I hope you all just have like a Merry Christmas, great Christmas, you know, if you celebrate or whatever. Just great rest of the year, great holidays. Just have a good time. 2023 is almost over. We got some good movies coming up in 2024, and we'll be covering them. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Only announcements I got is like right after this. Well, not like right after this, but like at 10:30 p.m. Central, SNN Late Nights will be going live for episode 5. Emperor Will is hosting that with his co-hosts Jeremiah and Adrian. They'll be talking about like murder mysteries and crime, unsolved crimes and all that. So that should be pretty fun. They'll be up late all night long. I would say maybe like 2 or 3 hours of just talking shit about like haunted houses and whatnot. But it should be a good time. I won't be able to make it to that because of work, but I will be uploading everybody's stuff to Spotify sometime later this weekend, so you guys will be able to hear this in audio format.
Yeah. I mean, peace out, guys. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody, and thanks for tuning in.